All right, here is the overview of the tech course that I have been thinking of, and I've been working with Mary Morris on this as well. Okay, the content overview would have three main areas: research skills, professional skills, and productivity skills. So the research skills is conceptualized as the kinds of things that would make you more efficient and effective as a researcher. Some key uh, tools there. Professional skills is roughly capturing the kinds of things that would be useful in whatever kind of managerial or office position people might find themselves winding up in. And then the third, just productivity in terms of especially using Windows and Word effectively, and then some productivity tools that I'll get into, and then some principles that would be woven in to the course throughout that have to do with personal effectiveness and goal setting and time management and all that kind of stuff. Some of the principles behind the course: one would be trying to teach skills as opposed to specific software. Obviously, you'd have to teach the software, but this kind of slides into point two here, to have a broader awareness of the kind of tools that are out there, the types of apps that are available, with the reasoning being that if you know of a certain kind of technology that's out there, it might be useful that you could then most likely teach yourself some of those skills, but it's hard to do that if you don't even know what's available. Third, trying to build a learning hub. So I'm thinking here something that's not trapped within not trapped within a Blackboard framework. Instead of have it be on the web, so that students both in the course and after they finish the course can come back to and benefit from the tools that are there. So one, trying to identify some emerging tools, keeping people kind of on the cutting edge. Second, it would be cool, I think, to integrate student contributions, have students to develop resources that they want to share with other people. And then the key point here, making it always available to past students to relearn or learn new skills. And then fourth, a guiding principle would be trying to interweave through it some general principles to help students how to motivate them, figure out how to motivate themselves and to be more productive. And I think there's a lot of good resources I could share there. Okay, so set one, going through some of the research skills and the softwares that would be available for that. Three main areas: lit review, survey design, and then data processing. Lit review, we'd start with Zotero. Zotero is a reference management and PDF management system that's free and is being developed by a nonprofit. It can access web pages like Google Scholar, and if you click on this Zotero browser plugin, you can get this pop-up, and I could just click on whatever references I would like to capture, and it would save both the references and the PDFs. You could also do this from PsycInfo and other journal websites. There's a wide range of websites that Zotero works with. But that's it. Then you can automatically capture all those. And then what happens is those references and the associated PDFs are automatically dumped into your Zotero library, which is on a PC, and it's synced to the cloud so that you can share it with other people and have a backup of it. Each reference that's captured, Zotero grabs all the relevant information you would need to put it into a bibliography, and also the PDFs, which are residing then on your hard drive or in the cloud, but such that you can annotate them and highlight them and share them among your research team. So when you come to the Word document, there's also a plugin that works for Google Docs. You have a very easy process by which to insert a citation, where I'll show you there's a hotkey that you hit that brings up this little dialog box, and I would just type in some words that are, say, in the title or the date of the author's name, and then boom, I can select from the list that matches what I typed in, and I have the exact reference that then gets dumped in there as the citation. And then once you have those citations done, it's just literally clicking a button to generate the bibliography. So that's all automatic. If any of these change in terms of I make a correction within Zotero, you can refresh the document and everything will change throughout. Google Scholar is the main workhorse I use. It has a number of benefits. For any given reference, it also oftentimes provides a link to the PDF. To the PDF. One thing I would teach is that there is oftentimes other versions available that may have the PDF if this one doesn't. It shows you articles that are citing this one, so you can do a forward search to see who's citing this Nielsen article. And also you can check out the author's page and see other research done by the given author. So a ton of information here in Google Scholar. And of course with Zotero, once you're in Google Scholar, you can then click on the PDF or the journal's web page, and it will pull up this page, which all this information, and Zotero can, from this page as well, grab the references or the PDF as well. So you can do it from either Google Scholar or from the journal page. This is the evolutionary and human behavior page. I think it would also be very useful for students to get some training in how to edit PDFs. So there's a PDFXchange Editor that's free, that at the free level it allows you to type in stuff, annotate with arrows, highlight, all that kind of stuff, which makes it a lot easier to mark up so that you can share what you found with other people on your research team, or just to remind yourself what's there. Zotero will also abstract out anything that you type in or any things that you highlight, so you have a reference of those in the Zotero database. Qualtrics is another very powerful tool that Winthrop students have access to. Here's an example of a matrix type question where you have standard Likert scales that people can use. It gives you a ton of options for the different types of questions that you could utilize. And so for example, there's a slider where you have people indicate their level of preference for something on a continuous scale as opposed to making choices, so it can give you very fine-tuned determinations. And this is something that's used by many companies. This is just a small sample, but this I think would be a valuable skill to put on your resume, because there's a bunch of survey work that all these companies do in terms of figuring out things about their brand and services and knowing their customers and that sort of thing. Qualtrics also has numerous tools that are very useful for conducting experiments. So you can randomly assign people to experience different kinds of stimuli and then see how that affects things that are hard to do with paper-based surveys. And then, of course, Excel, which we teach as a department SPSS in the stats class, but there is a lot you can do just with Excel, and I still myself use Excel for many kinds of different problems. So here's an example of just some data I made up. These are some simple things that I would cover. For example, in the Excel component of the class, there's this handy drag fill feature where I can grab a set of values and then move the mouse down as I'm representing here with the yellow arrows, and then boom, it picks up on that pattern here, extending it in a linear fashion, and here just adding the A's or the B's, and you can even do that kind of dragging that copies formulas that are embedded in these cells. Excel is also very handy. Anytime you highlight things, it shows you in the margin down at the bottom of the page some basic statistics like the average, the count, the sum. Of course, Excel has a ton of functions. I show here the formula for correlation, the R value that's computed by this formula, correlating these two sets of values. Graphs are very easy to do. Here's a scatter plot with a regression line, the regression formula, all generated very easily, and means and standard deviation and all kinds of other formulas as well. These are called functions in the language of Excel. There's also data filters that you can apply. So you see here I've added data filters to the titles of these different columns. By clicking on these little arrows, I can sort these different columns very quickly. You also have the ability in Excel to highlight a certain range of values and then do a search and replace. So here I take the 1s and 2s and 3s and convert those to qualitative descriptors. Conditional formatting is another very handy feature where I establish a set of rules, apply it to a set of cells, and then I can check for certain things. Here I've set it so that any cell that has a value less than 60 gets a different kind of formatting. So this is useful if you're looking for extreme values or certain patterns. And then Excel also, by providing these different sheets in a tab fashion, really gives you a place where you can almost set up a research notebook and keep track of projects and have logs and records. That's one thing I use it for a good bit. All right, that's the end of this section. Thanks you for listening to that. There's 2 more to come. If you're taking this as a survey in Qualtrics, please answer the survey questions for this, and then when you're finished with that, start the next video. Thank you.